Welcome back to the Blue Chip Breakdown of Vols fans. I'm your host, Bull. We're coming off of another really big recruiting weekend with Christian Gas committing to our Volunteers. He's a stud, sideline to sideline playmaker, can do it on at least two levels, but maybe even three. But his film breakdown is out for those of y'all that have not seen it yet. Please go check that out. And, as we normally do following these big announcements, it's time to take a look at our entire class breakdown from top to bottom on offense and defense. We'll also be looking at the big board. I have a couple of changes right there that definitely favors our Volunteers. As always, y'all, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us out tremendously. Big shout out to all the members. Big shout out to everyone that donates. Let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so this is our updated commit breakdown for the 2025 class according to On3. And what we'll see over here to the right is that we are currently 12th nationally. Before we were 13th. We're still 6th in the SEC. We were a 90.51. Now we're at a 90.54. We have a 56% blue chip ratio, and there are 18 players committed in this class. It's not on offense, not on defense. And for those of y'all that have not seen these breakdowns before, we'd have it split up between offense and defense by position. So, for example, we have one quarterback committed in this class, and his rating is a 94.66. Now, if you skip down to wide receiver, we have three commits in this class with an average score of a 90.73. And the score down at the bottom in green is the average rating of all the players, combined on offense and on defense. And if you look back over here to the right, you can see what the range is for a 4-star caliber player to a 5-star caliber player, according to On3. So whenever you look at the overall, breakdown down in the green for offense and defense, you can see that we are well within the range of being blue chip caliber because we are up over that, 4-star mark. So I just wanted to point that out. But there's no real differences here, outside of obviously us moving up a little bit in the ratings and in the rankings. But the only real difference is that we did add one linebacker, and you see that right here. Obviously, it's Christian Gas. He has a 90.88. You have to love the way that things look here, okay? Like we talked about last week, a lot of the talent is in the front seven, and that's where you want to have it at, right? I mean, obviously, we're looking good at some skill positions as well, but front seven play is really getting better up under Coach Heupel, so you have to be extremely excited about that. Now, let's go ahead and take a look to our updated big board, and as y'all can see, most of the players are now up under the expected commits list, and I won't spend too much time on everyone, but starting off at the top with David Sanders Jr., 5-star offensive lineman. Been on him for a while. Still feel great about where we're at. He's still expecting to announce August the 17th. And my biggest question or concern is going to be, does he take any visits once the dead period ends? And if he does, where's he going? Okay, as long as we're going to be one of those visits, I feel great about it because he has already visited Tennessee more than anyone else. But if he gives us an extra visit on top of visiting other programs as well, I feel good. But I feel good about that either way. Now, on to the next player who will be announcing officially this weekend, 4-star safety Shady Hayward. And this is a guy that we kind of went back and forth on. Will he be playing linebacker or will it be more safety? Well, now that we have a linebacker committed with Christian Gas, I think that Shady Hayward is just locked into safety at this point. And, it's pretty funny because speaking of Christian Gas, if y'all paid attention to his post-official visit interview with Austin Price, and then if you looked at kind of like his commitment video with Austin Price, he's wearing the same thing. I believe that it was on the exact same day. So he's been, silently committed to our Volunteers for a while. I think that Shady Hayward is another one of those players that is silently committed to our Volunteers. He actually, in my opinion, might be the last guy that is a silent commit. So, starting off with Travis Smith, then again, Christian Gas, and now Shady Hayward, it's going to be 3 consecutive weekends of what looks to me like it's been silent commits for our Volunteers for a while. But we will see what happens because, this next guy right here, Deshaun Brame, he was silently committed to our Volunteers as well, but he flipped to Oregon. Now, I do have Deshaun Brame back on this list, up under the expected commits because before he was up under possible commits, but he's back on the left side of this thing because, GMAC did come out and he did say that there could be a surprise commit, and it sounds like it's probably going to be Deshaun Brame. We've talked about that for weeks now on this channel. Even after Deshaun had committed to Oregon, just felt like he was planning on kind of getting back into the mix with Tennessee, but things are moving a lot more quickly than we had originally thought that they would, or than, we had originally heard that they would. So Deshaun Brame could be a guy that could end up pulling the trigger at some point this week. We'll see. Does he come up and visit us once that dead period ends? I think that would be very interesting. If he does, would not be surprised to see him come out and officially flip from Oregon. Now, the next player is going to be Jaden Pilati, 4-star linebacker from Buford, Georgia. And it sounds like he is leaning towards flipping to Tennessee. I feel like he's been leaning towards that for some time right now. but he hasn't come out and said anything officially, and he might not, right? I think that's what everyone's just kind of waiting on is, hey, if this is what you really want to do, then maybe just tell, whoever. I mean, I don't know who they tell, if you have to tell some of these on three guys or whoever it is, but tell them what's going on. And, if he does end up doing it, I feel like it would be before the season starts, which for Buford, their season starts August the 15th, but school starts for them on August the 2nd. So I could see him trying to get this stuff done before school starts. That's just my opinion. We'll see how things play out. But yeah, I feel really, really good about Jaden. That's another linebacker, just like a Christian Guest, that's extremely versatile. And I mean, really, even if you're talking about a Shady Hayward, all these guys are just so versatile and they can play all over the field. Great speed. Very excited about the way this defense is going to be looking moving forward, y'all. So the next player is going to be four-star cornerback Onis Konanbanny. Still feel a little bit iffy about this one, but I'm overall confident. I would say I might be the least confident with him than anyone else on this list right here, just because it feels like he is kind of flirting back and forth with Florida State. Now, he's expected, I believe, to announce in early August. We'll see what happens here over the next couple of weeks. It would also be nice to get him up on like an unofficial visit once the dead period ends. And right here, we know that Dwayne Morris, he should be coming up once the dead period ends. I believe that he's locked into the 27th of this month. And he was up under the possible commits before. I decided to move him on over because it just sounds and feels like once he comes up, kind of get some things ironed out, maybe from NIL perspectives or whatever. Once all that stuff is ironed out on this unofficial visit, I think that he will, be pulling the trigger and flipping from USC to our Volunteers. Now, let's just make sure that we can kind of recap on everyone that we are expecting to be coming up once this dead period ends. Just from this big board, we got Shady Hayward, who is expected to make it up. I think that Desan Brame could possibly make it up. Jaden Pilati is expected to make it up, and so is Dwayne Morris. We're talking about, Shady Hayward this weekend, Desan Brame, and maybe Dwayne Morris could all be committing this week. So it could be a really, really big week. And then what if you added Jaden Pilati? Like, what if he decides to flip as well? That would be a huge week heading into that home stretch where the only players that will be left is going to be Onis Konanbanny and David Sanders in August. Now for the possible commits, Juan Gaston and Josh Petty. When GMAC came to social media saying to expect a surprise commit coming soon, these are the first two players that came to mind for me. I would love to be able to add them to this class. And just starting off with Josh Petty, I would say that it's an outside-in shot for all Volunteers. But I don't know if it's as much of a slam dunk of him going to Florida State as we had originally thought. I think that things are a little bit more open. So Tennessee does have a chance to kind of sneak in there. I just think it's going to all depend on how much we're going to push to land him in this class. And I've said this really from the start of all this. If he's a guy that Tennessee really wants, we can get him. I just, I do feel like Tennessee does really want him. So I don't mean to paint a picture that way. But that's just the way that I'm looking at it. It's like, okay, if you really put the pedal to the metal on him, because, it was Florida State for such a long time. Now they're saying that he could be taking a visit out of left field once the dead period ends. So it's like, okay, like he's visiting all these different schools, Stanford, Georgia Tech. There really is no reason that Tennessee can't close out on Josh Petty. Especially if he grew up as a Tennessee fan. But that's just my thoughts on it. We'll see how things play out. I would love if the staff, again, would just really put the full court press on Josh Petty and just bring him on home. Now, as far as Juan Gaston goes, still, feel about the same. Don't know if it's going to be Georgia, if it's Oregon, could be us, could be somebody else. Like, people just don't know. But, on August the 2nd, we'll probably have some more information on that. I wouldn't be surprised either if maybe he takes a visit or two once the day period ends as well. I just think that some of these guys that have announcements coming up in August, why not take the visits if you can? Especially because you're getting closer and closer to the season starting. And this is about like the last week or so that you'll have those free weekends to take these sorts of visits. So that's just my opinions on it. But I would love to see y'all's down in the comment section. As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share with your friends, family, and other Volunteer fans. We'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.